That's a knife right there.
See air right feet.
I was always in charge.
It's upside down.
Oh yeah. All right, what's going on, everybody? We're back. It's another week in the shop. It's too cold to do anything outside. Broke the old C50 out today and went and got a load of firewood. That takes me about 3 hours round trip, so it wasn't too bad. Froze my toes off. I got a little heater in there, a little electric heater, but not supposed to be driving it in the winter, but here we are, trying to survive. So we're back in the shop. It's Monday night. As you looked at our video, if you watched our video last night, you've seen that we've been working on the frame some more, and I've even done more. While that video was coming out, I was down here working. The only way to get it done is to stay working. I don't have no magical team that comes in when I'm gone and finishes up everything. So let me bring you up to speed. We have the, who's out there? Must be the boss lady driving through. We have the rear end back in, and we swapped rear ends. We have a 14 bolt full floater, 373 gear axle that we got off Josh Borgenson. We dug that out of the mud. We're gonna make it work. We got leaf springs out of a deal I got off Keith Moore, package deal. I got some stuff, and rear hangers off a $100 Suburban frame I got off a guy in Columbus. The front axle is out of a broken in half plow truck we bought. And then the frame is the original 40 frame. The only thing I've bought so far is those two front rough stuff coil over mounts and two heim joints for the 2 1/4 heim joints for the back. And that's really it. We're going to buy more, but that's all I've bought so far, other than 1/4 inch steel and cross members. I had these laying around. Somebody said, why the roller, why the thing on the back? You'll see. Why the winch in the back? We'll have one in the front too. I did some looking on Spamazon and I found the fuel tank I'm going to run. So I went ahead and made the opening for it. Fuel tank that I want to buy is 30 inches wide, 17 deep. I have 31 by 18 and a half. So we're going to make that fit. We'll build a skid plate. I have a piece of aluminum. We'll build a skid plate for underneath there for added protection. And we'll have 1 inch square tubing that will cradle that fuel tank from here to there. And then we have a gooseneck hitch we'll probably put in just to help move things around the shop, or in case we're on the road and something was to happen, we could at least help ourselves get off the road. Not saying that it would pull a gooseneck around, but I'd try. So that's what we're doing. This is going to be a little bit of a mashup. I can't just work balls out all the time. Sometimes I got to slow down, catch up, work on the shop. Got a big project coming in, so I've been trying to get as much done. This place is a wreck. If you look around, I got an engine. So I had an engine stand. The C-clip was missing off the wheel. I just drilled a hole in that, put a cotter pin through that wheel. So that's back in action. We're going to set the camera up, get the cherry picker, get the motor up on that stand. That motor goes in this truck. We want to tap chase all the holes, thread chase all the holes, clean it up. That's a remanufactured block engine. That don't mean nothing. It's old, but it'll run. We've had it running. We'll have it run again. So we're not taking the intake off because I just put that on. We're going to leave the distributor in. We're just going to give this the old $5 cleanup, and it's going in. We'll paint it with a brush. With the tractor paint, we'll just use the same thing. Get that in there. I got to get rid of some stuff in here because the next project is quite large. So I got my wood basket in here, but that can go outside. I got the 400 208 laying on the ground. That's going to go in, but I got to finish the Crossmember. So I'm going to set the phone down. I'm going to get to work. I spilled a lot of diesel fuel, so you might even get to watch me clean up because that's real life in the shop. Unless you're just a filthy animal, you got to clean a lot, especially when you're doing metal work like this, it's just ruins the floor. You got to sweep. You got to have a small broom, big broom, shop vac. You got to stay on it. It'd be nice to have a second person, third person. One thing I did last night, you'll see these shiny things every 12 inches. Those are 1/4-inch bolts. I use the head, get more welding, and it keeps it off the frame a little bit. I like that. So I went and marked every 12 inches, cleaned it, welded those on, and I have them on both sides. Those will be for my rubber shock clamps. Is that a word? My rubber cushion clamps. Cushion clamps. No one's getting shocked. So I got cushion clamps for the fuel line, the brake line, the electric lines. I might share on one. They may share. On the top it's one thing, on the bottom with the other. 2 different straps, 1 stud. There's no openings in the frame since I boxed it. So unless you have attachment points, shit's going to dangle. You're going to look like Reno 911, Lieutenant Dangle. All your wires and all your lines and everything's going to be hanging on the ground. But got the shop warm, and let me show you something else that came in the mail today. So a lot of you may be wondering, no one's asking, but a lot of you may be wondering, how are you going to protect the inside of that frame now that you've boxed it? And the answer to the question is, there's not a good way. On anything you build, there's going to be somewhere. That's a knife right there. So there's going to be, no matter what you build, 49 Mercury with chop top, no matter what, you're going to have spots that you couldn't get to. So what I am going to use on the inside of this frame, and I haven't welded up all the holes, and I decided I'm not going to. I'm going to let her breathe. This isn't a custom truck. Well, it's a custom truck, but it's not a show truck. So we're going to have some holes in the frame, and what we're going to do is, I've never seen it myself. So I got it on the old Amazon or online, wherever, and I bought a 6-pack of fluid film black, rust and corrosion protection. There's a hose inside there. So there's an applicator, should be a hose inside there. They're all taped together. And I will take my 3 cans. I'll figure out, apparently I got 3 for each side. That's the way I did my math. 6 cans, 2 sides, 3 per side. So I'll set my cans out here, space them out like a game plan. You got to be ready. And then I get my hose out and shake them all up. I'll rig up a Sawzall with a blade, and I'll shake those up because my arms won't take that much jacking. And it might, but I don't know. It's easier to use Sawzall. So we'll get those babies. I don't know if I'll get to that tonight because it's supposed to get down to 1 degree tonight. So it's probably not the smartest thing to do is to put your turkey in the oven and turn the oven off. So now you know what I got. There are all those welds in there and all that original frame that I didn't paint. What I wanted to do was go in there perfectly like Chip Foose, and I was going to prep it all inside that C. That would have taken me 3 months. Then I was going to go in there with my paint and make me a perfect line, 1/4 inch away from my welds, paint it all in there, and then weld my shit on there. But that would have still left raw dog in there. It would have still been, it wouldn't have been, okay, so you're 75% better, but the 25% still going to rust. So that's the downfall to boxing your frame. If you're just going to go try to win Detroit Autorama 7 years from now, it might rust down on the carpet up there. But when you see what we're going to do with this truck, you're going to wonder why we even painted it to begin with. We're giving it the benefit of the doubt. We're giving it the treatment, the royal treatment. For saving it. This truck was long forgotten. Somebody did some work, did some epoxy, gave up on it. I'm not going to give up on it. I've already got it a roller. See, that's another thing I didn't tell you. A lot of talking in this video. If you don't like to talking, I don't know what to tell you. I got to talk to describe what is going on, Gordon. So don't leave filthy comments about less talk, more work. Okay? I'm trying. So We got the boggers back on. We got the front axle back in. Got our huge attachment point all welded in. Woo! That's a mega bar, okay? And the reason I'm doing it this way, Tim, why are you doing it that way? Because I do not fabricate onto a 10 bolt or a half-ton axle. I only fabricate onto 1-ton axles. So what we're doing here, and I did this on Dick Banjo and it worked, and because I've drove it. I'm using the stock leaf spring location, the stock pin, the stock clamping technique, which holds every axle in our whole lives, and I'm going to use that to mount the front axle. That will allow me to put a 10 bolt in it later if I break this one. That will allow me to put a Dana 60 in it later on. It'll go right in if I break this one. If I want to put a Snow Fighter Dana 60 from a 78 or 79 Ford Lariat in here, it'll go in here with this setup. I know it will because they're all pretty much the same. There's about a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch difference on a few axles. A Dodge Dana 60 would go in here. Leaf spring, I'm talking leaf springs, leaf springs, leaf springs. So we're using the leaf spring mounting technique to hold the axle in. And what we're going to try to do is set our ride height to where those ball joints have an 8-degree lean. Don't mind my wood stove burn. An 8-degree lean is what you want your ball joints to kick back a little bit. Not straight up. Straight up, she'll wobble, she'll fight, follow the road, follow itself, track all over the place. So we're going to try to we're going to set it up. We may have to run a shim in the front, okay? But we don't have any blocks or anything like that. So we may have to run degree shims in the front to get that perfectly where we want it. All this may get thrown out the window when a better axle comes along. If I can get my hands on a Dana 60 before now and the end of this project, I will fab arms. I will do a big 2-point on the front, a 1-point on the back, or I may even be able to use these same attachment points, putting a Super 60 in with large radius arms and coilovers. So this is really, if you think about it, the perfect setup to move forward and to not lose momentum until you find that perfect axle. This is a $100, $200 axle. It needs work. It needs axle joints and brakes, the whole 9 yards. We'll see what we do when we get there. We know what we got back here. We're going to work our way from the back. We're going to set the gas tank. We're going to have fuel lines. We're going to have brake lines all run and all that. We got another project coming in, so I'm trying to get all the fab work done, the grinding, the slinging, the cussing, the painting, the welding done, because I got to work on that other project. And when it comes in the shop, it's going to be go, 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 go. And most of you already know what it is, but I'm doing YouTube suspense, and I'm not going to tell you. So that's my intro. Now I'm going to get to work. All right. Since we're trying to get a new project in the shop, we got to get all this stuff cleaned up. This is the reality of working on stuff. You end up with a massive mess. Unless you got it made, you got to clean it yourself. So, got my engine stand ready to go. Got my old cherry picker here. I can store this in the other garage, so the quicker I can get this motor on this stand and get that transmission back in that frame, better I'll be. The mess will kind of clean itself up, you know? When I was a kid, my favorite thing to do was play with Legos. And I mean, I liked Hot Wheels and stuff, but I really liked Legos because I could build whatever I wanted. And I would dump them all out and I'd make a heck of a mess. My mom would yell, well, she wouldn't yell, but you know how moms do. Timmy, clean up your mess and stuff. I'm building. I can't. And then they'd all be complaining because I'd have the whole living room floor taken up with all my Legos. And I had to get them all out to see what I wanted to build. That's what I'm doing here. I always say I want a bigger garage, bigger barn, but I would just have a bigger mess. The freaking backing plate is heavier than the whole engine stand. So I'd get all the Legos out, then I'd get to building. It wasn't until I was done that I cleaned them up. They just had to deal with it. I was always in charge, even back then. Another thing that's really in my way is this thing right here, and I don't know what it's for. But this Dana 60, Kingpin Dana 60, 35 spline outers, Yukon hubs, a drive flange, which we'll have to put a lockout on. It's already got dual stabilizers. It's got 6-inch springs sitting on it. It's got new Kingpins, new Yukon joints in the axles from the tug and truck days, finned aluminum cover. Don't know what that's for. Could possibly don't know what that's going in, but it's in the way. So here we go. We got it's like a vlog. Everybody's into that live action vlog. So here you go. What's a day in the life of Tim Miller like? It's not that bad. Look at that. See? Insertion. Stick a bolt in it. Okay. Now, that freed up some space on the floor. I spilled about a gallon of diesel fuel here, so I'm going to go over there. I'm going to sweep my way over to here, throw this stuff away. And then when I come back, we're going to take this MP205 that I've been working on. And I just happen to have these hanging on the shelf, lifting eyes, and that screws right in to that mounting flange. I soaked a little oil on that. I could bench press that MP205, no problem. Probably take it off there with one arm, but I'm going to use cherry picker tonight because I don't want to show off. And I already have 2 torn shoulders and a bad back and partially brain dead. So I'm going to sweep the floor. Give me 5 minutes. I'll show you. I'll let you watch me sweep the floor. Here we go. Wish I could listen to that Leonard Skinner while I work. Let's get this transfer case out the way. All right, that worked perfectly. So what we got here, who's calling me? Pause. All right, headquarters called. We've been fighting a furnace issue bad. Like, we have fuel oil furnace in the building we live in, which is also facilities down below in separate rooms. And a fuel oil furnace is old, man. It's like driving around an old car. And major expenditure, I guess, to change it. So it's been an ongoing battle. She was hung up. All right, so this is a 205 divorce 4 drop, driver's passenger side drop. It's just in the way. We're going to set it down here. This bolt's handy, so I need to finish painting it, but we're not painting tonight. So I don't want to move it far away and get it out of my way. I'm just going to put it over around the way for today, get my table cleaned off so I can work on this crossmember. Because now that I got the motor out and I got this moved, I get that crossmember cleaned up, put in, then we can take that transmission up off floor, put it in. We're starting to move forward. Let's get this out of the way. Probably for now, we'll just leave this out over here. Just leave that on there for now. We're going to move over to the metal workshop. All right. I made this cross member using the existing cross member because that swoop and that drop and that get out of the way of the drive shaft, it's hard to do on your own unless you have a tubing bender. And I wish when I do get one tubing bender, I'm just going to make me a flange, come right around that up to the frame, and it'll look real good. For now, we're using this piece of crap. So I'm going to trim the edges, taper it up, see what I can do with it. Stick around. Let me get some tools. I'll be right back. All right, had another diesel spill, so we'll probably have a fire, but we're going to keep moving anyway. What we want to do is trim this edge off because we're not going to use that anymore. Actually gonna see it too, so it's got to be major bum that it don't look better than it does, but we're gonna drive it anyway. Don't matter what it looks like. Let's fix it. So I'll probably put a taper, kick back, you know. I'm gonna trim this down, and I know I welded it. We'll put some gussets on it, but I want it to look good from the side, so we're gonna cut most of that off. You gotta watch throwing sparks on your cell phone. You'll ruin it. Now we're going to trim the other side. If you ever steal a truck and you change the VIN number and everything, you think you're smooth, there's a VIN number right there on the Crossmember. Bet you didn't know that. I guess I didn't either. All right. Do we want to strengthen it? Do we want to gusset it? Make it look worse? Or do we just want to... I am going to fix these grooves. I had to cut grooves in it for clearance of the front axle bracket, front spring hanger, front hanger. There's no spring, but... So we'll probably box that in, clean up a few things, pouring out a few of those welds, pouring those up. Let's get some tube steel. Here's what we're going to use to fix that groove that I cut halfway through the mounting bracket. We're going to stick that baby on there. We're going to weld it. We might as well go full length because it'll look stupid if we don't. And I got to cut one side out of it. So let me get some marking utensils. All right. What we're dealing with is 4-inch and 4-inch. So we need a piece 8-inch. So that's some of that math taking over. 4-inch, 8-inch. Let's mark it all the way around. Whoop. 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 That's the sound my marker makes. Now, I could cut those into 4-inch pieces, and then I'm pretty much guaranteed to cut my fingers off messing with it. So I'm going to leave it on there. Move this guy. Where's our marks? Right there. This is the piece. Clamp it down. If you don't have these clamps, get you some. Now we're going to leave it together and we're going to slice the back out. That's what we're going to do. Now we got 2 troughs. Let's clean them up. Boom. Use what you got. Don't act like you can't work on something until you buy the best of the best. Can't wait on the tubing bender. You can't wait on your friend's shop. Build it. Okay. Now, here's what we'll do. Clamp her up there where we can see it. Reference. Now, what we got here is straight line. We got our filler piece. That'll go in there right like that. Zip, 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 zip. Let's do it. Let me fire up the welder. All right, we're live. Whatever you want to call it. We got our piece made up. We're going to put her in there. Let's burn it. All right, we just got to finish one weld across here. Be ready to clean up. All right, let that cool down for a few minutes. We'll go over and we'll install it. It will paint it in place. Clean it up, paint it in place. I only painted the bottom just to get on top of things. That didn't make any sense. I painted the bottom so I didn't have to paint the bottom again. We may have to touch it up, but the majority of it's painted. So that's a plus. Got my weird little hat on. Freedom. Just gonna cool down because I'm tired of burning myself, and I'm gonna put it in. Alrighty. Yep, it's Monday. Here we are with the Crossmember. I got my forever bolts. Washers, 2 washers, nylon locking nut. Those are my forever bolts. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Move the bolts. Oh yeah. I'm feeling pretty good. Been watching The Landman. I know you guys been watching that too, I bet. We all have good taste and stuff. You've been watching The Landman with Billy Bob Thornton? That's what oil life's like. I just stick right here in my garage. Keep on a building. Fits nice. Hardened bolts, proper length, proper washer. Man, that fits nice. We've got a lot done tonight. I was worried about how I was going to make a video. What kind of content was I going to create? I know you're probably tired of watching, but if you pay close attention, you'll see exactly how to build a whole truck. Crossmember's in. It was never in before, permanently. Now it is in. I'm going to go grab my tools and tighten it down because it is staying. It's really coming along. Don't mind my stupid hat. Let me show you a few other things I haven't showed you yet. Spare parts. I used to have razors. I had a 900. Then I had the Pro XP. I had the bad boy, the turbo, big horsepower, portals, super swampers. Tore it up. Put me in jail. Long story. I'll tell you someday. But I have leftover lights. I have leftover stuff. So these lights, I've been moving them around. They're just projector beam lights, LED. They really take nothing. I've got 2 mounted under here. I'm gonna mount more of them. I'm gonna light it up, baby. And that way if we're out wheeling and something breaks, we can see. I got 2 right there. And then I'm pretty proud of how these turned out. I know it's just lights and it's no big deal. But I cut these lights into the back bumper. They're just little projector lights, and they come with these stupid little nuts and bolts. So when you put it in there, there's no way I could take this out, reach in there and get to the first 2, but it'd be real hard to get to the back 2. So what I've done, I've drilled the holes out a little bit, and I'm taking a 5/16 tap, and I'm drilling the holes out. And then I stopped by my old buddy Steve Williamson's Red Barn Lumber, and I picked up some socket head cap screws, and there's a screw in there. So easy in and out. We got 2 of those. I just got to finish tapping this side. We got the hitch on there. We got the winch plate ready to go. One of the next things we're going to work on is rear shock brackets. Don't procrastinate the shock brackets. I procrastinated shock brackets on Dick Banjo and had a hell of a time doing it when it was crawling under there and working on it and stuff. So we're trying to get all this done. I'm going to tighten up this Crossmember. What time is it? 7:30. Let's see how much we can go. See how long we can go tonight. Might get the transmission in, but I probably should wait. I'll probably wait on transmission so I can get some paint in there. Clean that up. I didn't really get a chance to clean that Crossmember, so I'll get the wheel of death out. Put on 6 leather jackets, and I'll get in there and wire wheel that loose. I'm getting my first look at it from the side. It's not great, but it could be a lot worse. It is what it is. It fits in there. It went in nice. I feel like it went in nice. I got my little thing there so nobody can say I took away the strength. I put the strength right back. Transmission sits down in there, but it'll also come out and down from below, so we don't have to take the cab off. Nothing crazy going on. I'm liking it. I'm really liking it. Woo! I ain't going anywhere, boys. That's tight. That's tight, make it right. All right. Now we're getting our first look at front drive shaft. It's going to be a little longer than normal. That's all right. It's not going to be too long. We'll put a fresh sleeve on it. Probably buy a DIY kit and build a brand new drive shaft. You can buy DIY kits for this stuff. If you don't want to go, I mean, you got to have a good way to weld it. So sometimes it is worth going to the driveline shop. We're moving right along. Crossmembers in, all of our coolant, all of our lines, transmission line bolts, fasteners are all in, lights are in. We're mocking it up as we go. I'm drawing. Right now I'm just drawing. We got our little studs in, temporary. So we'll have coilovers up front here. You're seeing it at the same time I am, so if I'm stuttering and I can't put my words together, it's because I'm looking at it. Like, this is looking pretty cool. It's got nice angles. It's going to have really good approach angle in the front as far as going up hills. Plenty of clearance in the back. I'm going to try to make the shocks look real clean. So we got a nice angle there even. So hopefully it won't bottom out going up on stuff. Should be a win. Next up, probably going to figure out a way to build a dump. Should I say the word dump bed? I don't know. I think it'd be pretty cool to make it dump. I just think it would. It wouldn't hardly cost me nothing. Weld some hinges on, get a piece of pipe, build a subframe. I think it'd be easy. That's where we're heading. Keep on working. What's going on, everybody? It's freezing out. We're down in the teens today. Nothing wants to work right, run right, or act right. Had to go pick up our Kawasaki Mule. This is a good story for you. So this mule is about 10 years old. It was my dad's. We had an older one that I drove. It blew up. Last year, the year before, he bought a new one for himself. And we started using this one. We just drive it from here to our shop, drive it around, weed eat, stuff like that. About a year ago, last year sometime, I was driving it and it started smoking real bad. And it like locked up. Didn't want to run anymore. So we loaded up, took it into Kawasaki. And they said that it ran fuel, it leaked fuel into the crankcase, pretty much hydrolocked itself. But it didn't do any damage to the motor, they said. Obviously, there's no warranty on this, so we're not talking about that. So they worked on it, and by my accounts, pulled a miracle. We got it back running, ran fine for a while. They charged only $1,000 to do all that, and ran fine. 3 or 4 weeks ago, Wyatt was driving it around, and he texted me in a panic, said it was smoking. And I knew exactly what had happened again. Here we go again, so They say bring it back. You know, obviously it's an older machine. There's no warranty on any of this. So we take it back. They've had it for they had it for a week or so. Of course, we've had 10 inches of snow and 0 temps. So I go back to get it today and asking the guy, you know, what's causing this? And here's what he says. And I've never been accused of this in my life, so here it goes. He said it's been determined that you're too easy on this machine. You don't run it long enough. That it only takes short trips and that it don't burn the fuel in the combustion chambers. And then it floods out and pours gas into the crankcase, which I haven't figured out that yet, why it does that. If it's fuel injected with a fuel pump and a regulated fuel system, why that it does that, you know. But that's what he said. So, first time in my life, 45 years old, I've been accused of not running something hard enough. Tried to drive the van to go get it. The van battery was dead in the van. So I jumped it with the army truck. It started up within seconds, no problem. I let it sit for a little while and run, like a half hour. All right, my phone ran out of storage right as I was explaining that they said I don't run the mule hard enough. And I tried to drive the van, but the battery must be bad on the van. So we're gonna go over here, jump start it, and get the old van down closer to the garage. I'm tired of being cold. Pretty important reason why we're taking the van down to the barn, and you'll see that coming up. So I'm gonna get this trailer unhooked, jump start this van. Well, just as I was complaining about the weather, here comes more. It's snowing. Can you see that? It's horrible. Really makes filming a challenge when it's just cold out. It's hard to have fun. Let's get this trailer off the truck. We can go do something else. I had a heck of a time getting it loaded up. I'm gonna start planning out so I can go to warmer weather in the winter. Live from Alaska, survival mode 2025. People say that stuff's pretty, but it sure is hard work keeping everything running, staying warm. Got 3 buildings burning firewood all at once. The sky's like purple, pink or something. Let's see what she says. I don't know what the draw is. So start here in a minute. Got my super long jumper cables from Harbor Freight. One false move and they'll become positive wires for a hot rod. Battery don't look very old, but who knows. Once we get it running, we'll pop that cable off, see if it runs off the alternator. Hopefully we don't have a bad alternator. We drove it, took that mule to the shop, it ran fine, so you never know when it's just cold out. We got down to like single digits last night. 1. Big block. 454. That's it. See you in a minute. All right, we're back in the shop. Phone said 16 degrees when I clicked on it. But we're not going to let that stop us. We're just going to keep on going. I've had the heater running. I didn't start a fire today because I wasn't down here till late. But I still want to get something done. One piece at a time. That's our motto around here. Piece and grease, one piece at a time. I try to never let the whole project overwhelm my mind. And I try to get something done every day. So I haven't got anything done on this motor today, on this truck. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. On this truck today, but I want to. So I'm down here struggling through it, and everything's iced up outside and got the house warm. So let's go down here and hit it for a few minutes. I'm gonna take this 3/8 thread chaser. I'm gonna clean these holes out real quick. And I got a little bit of grease, a little bit of brake clean. And it's just, get something done, you know. Turn the heater on, get it warm enough, and get something done. So I know this is something that's not important or a big deal. It is important, so we're going to do it. So we're just going to start and go down the line. There's nothing worse than getting your motor all set in place and then you can't get your bolts in. So just going to give her a little, I just got fresh motor oil in here. I'm just going to run them through. Come in and out a few times. We'll put new plugs and everything in it once we get it set. All right, that bottomed that one out. Give her the old look away. Cleaning for the next hole. There's one down. See? We're moving. We was talking on Facebook today about being old and building stuff. Well, I made a post, and Steve Wiggins, Saw Customs, said that he built his first engine in 1995. I'm not sure how old Steven is, but I'm 45. I think I might be older than him. So I had a 72 El Camino I'd bought, saved up grass mowing money from my grandma, borrowed a little money from my grandma, bought this 72 El Camino from this local shyster guy named BJ, and drove out for a little while. Well, I didn't have a license. Me and my dad, I was still 14 or 15 when I bought it. Me and my dad would go trap shooting claybirds and say, drive my car, Dad. So my dad would drive us around in my El Camino and we'd go trap shooting. And that was fun. And then I had the bug at a young age, so I wanted to put a cam in it. So went out in my dad's little garage. My dad's garage is so old, it's got like paver bricks from like the 1800s in it. It's like an old horse carriage barn. And real, you know, it wasn't, he didn't have a new addition in it. It wasn't a very nice barn, but here I was, 15 years old in there, putting a, that's why I want to do it. This one's completely blocked up. So I spent a little bit of time out there. I took my own intake off and, you know, started working on it. Bought me a Summit cam. I still remember the numbers. 292 duration, 492 lift. I did my research and tried to pick the best cam so I didn't have to put a stall converter in it. So spent a little while putting the cam in. And when it come time to adjust the valves, I mean, I got all the way to the time of adjusting the valves. And if I'd have just gave it a little more time, I would have figured it out. But my dad had this asshole that worked for him named Larry. And one day they come home from work. They'd probably been drinking beer and stuff on the ride. Larry was going to help me adjust my valves, you know. So we go into the garage, and here little Timmy Miller's done all this work and come all the way to the point, taking it apart, put it back together. It's time to adjust the valves. I had the car running, but it just didn't. I just didn't know exactly how to fine tune them babies in and take the lash out. So here comes little old Larry, and he wasn't around long. Is there something in there? And here come Larry. I'll adjust your valves, little Timmy Miller. Little Timmy Miller, I'll adjust your valves. I'm like, man, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. So, you know, a few more swigs of beer and Larry's adjusting my valves. I'm excited because some bitch act like he knew what he was talking about. So here we are. Here's Larry doing his little thing, holding his hand like this and stuff. When they do that, I didn't know then, but when you start acting like a music producer or a doctor, you don't really know what you're listening for. So he'd have that weird look on his face. We had the hood off, had it running, just everything clanging, valve covers off of it, oil flying everywhere. And here's old Larry just bent over. He's only about 5'6". He's bent over the fenders, adjusting these valves like a mad scientist. And this goes on for a little while, and it gets to the point where we're just oils everywhere. We can't go on like this, you know, we can't continue like this, Larry. And he basically tells me that it's like when the doctor comes in and it's too late. Like, you're done. They opened you up, sewed you back up, you've woke up, you're done, they tell you. As a human being, we can't fix you. Well, that's what Larry looked at me and said, "Oh, little Timmy Miller, you're effed. That thing's effed up, man. It's effed up." And what he had done was cranked all the valves down until he started bending push rods. And we didn't know that. He wasn't bragging about that. He was just telling me basically that all my hard work, my cam job, my 15-year-old cam job was junk. And he didn't give me a good reason for it. He got in his truck and left. I was devastated. Went into the house, went to my room, devastated. My car wasn't running right at all. We was totally screwed up. Basically, it junked it. Like, you started losing oil pressure, probably ran it all out, honestly, adjusting the valves. And then once we put oil in it, the damage was done. Larry wasn't around much after that. Coincidentally, he worked for my dad, and he quit not long after that. So what I had to do was take all my money, save all my money, because my dad was paying me piss money. You know how they do you. I wasn't very good, though, at my job. I'll admit that. So I had to save up every dime I could, and I didn't know what to do. I was reading the magazines. I was going to try to build an engine myself. Well, I mean, what are you going to do? You don't know what to do. We've all been there. What's next? What's next for my hot rod? Well, there's a place called Performance Clinic, and they've changed a few times since then. So I take my car up to Performance Clinic, and basically 4-bolt main block. We really didn't know performance back then like people do now. Basically just told them we wanted 300 or 400 horsepower motor and go over it. We probably had 194 heads and stuff on it and all that good non-performance related items. But about, $3,000 or $4,000 later, it was ready to go. And I got my license one day, and my grandma took me in a Ford Taurus to get my driver's license, and I had her drive me up to the hot rod shop. And that was the day I got my license, 2 weeks after I turned 16 to the day. And then I had this hot rod El Camino in 72. And that didn't last long. I wrecked that baby. Not in I didn't wreck it in like 100 mile per hour wreck or anything. I rear-ended somebody that stopped dead in front of me, so that kind of sucked. But now you know, my first hot rod. Sounds like somebody just pulled up out there. Let's go see. All right, you seen firsthand the importance of cleaning out your holes. See that daggone spider been living in there? I'd have drove a bolt in there, probably wouldn't even have got tight. It would have never been tight because there's a stupid spider in there hydrolocking my hole. So it's a good thing we did that. And I showed you the importance of tapping your hole. I'm going to hit these last two with this 3/8/16, the water neck bolts. These are sure to snap off. Gall up, break, give you fits, and all that. So Let's give them a little clean out. While we're at it, these holes aren't very deep because they got water jackets under there, so you don't have much room to mess with on these when you put your bolt in there. These are one of the most common holes you'll mess up on an engine. This or the carburetor stud holes. They're not very deep. Little brake clean. Don't want any oil down in there because it'll actually create a cavity. You'll never get it tight. And the brake cleaner, it'll dissolve. Intake's not very nice, so I may just end up painting it black when we paint everything else black, but we'll see. Got another one right here. Might as well tap it real quick. Just tap it in. Just tap it in. So, you know, it's not, on the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal, but we got some content filmed. You got to look at my beautiful small block Chevy engine. And, you know, maybe there's a few of you out there that didn't know that this was a good practice before you go bolting stuff on. Because, well, I call it mud daubers around here, but we have the flying insects that get in there and mud up the holes and stuff. So it's just a good practice to go through and clean up what you can. We have heard it run once, but there's no guarantees. But we're going to stick her in there and run it again. A couple things. We'll be able to get the transmission in. Something that I'm going to use is a tubular Crossmember. And I'm going to use the same one on the van. So tubular Crossmember with motor mounts on there. Right down Speedway. So I need to get one of those ordered. It's $110. I can't even worry about buying the pipe, bending the pipe. And it comes with upper mounts and everything. So cannot even afford to work on it for cheaper than $100. So I'll have to work about 10 hours for my dad whenever I'm not in here to get that 100, but it's a better deal. And all this is gearing up to more projects in the shop. So probably going to end the work portion of this video. We wasn't sure if we was going to have enough content to film, so we planned on showing you some never before seen footage from our GoPro. Hopefully, she said that she was charging it up and going to download that stuff. So hopefully you get to see some GoPro action from under the hood, but there is no hood. But we like to put a GoPro up under the hood of a vehicle at a car show and just hear what people have to say. And I think this was at Ratstock, which is one of our greatest videos ever. So go back, and it is our #1 video ever. So go back and check out the whole Ratstock video, see all the shenanigans there. But for now, enjoy some footage that you've never seen before in any video, from reactions and walk-ups. And I'm excited too, because I haven't seen it. They may say this is the biggest pile of crap ever. We may actually uncover why, the mystery of why we wasn't even included in the build-off. Maybe this will shed some light on the fact. Maybe somebody walks up and says, this is disqualified. We'll see. Well, you never know. Let's roll it.
Wait, is that the outside pictures you're getting, everybody?
Yeah, I want to see reactions.
It's cool as hell. How long did it take you guys to do this?
We started as soon as they announced the build-off, so
When was the build-off?
it started in January, so
You did this all the way until now?
9 months. Yeah, we're in the build-off. We're going for the win, baby. They're announcing it later.
Holy fuck. Are you serious?
Yeah, the frame and everything, from the ground up, it's built.
Devin, come here. That's crazy.
You gotta hurry up too. You can hear my voice. 9-6.
cushion made out of blue jeans.
It's upside down. Now this. 9481.
Yeah, this was also on piece.
9481. You know, little fortunes have found. Kids, hold on to kids up here. Because I got some cool things. I do. This guy right here.
Their own fucking bags. Oh, motorcycle back, ain't it?
Yep.
Look at them seats.
Oh, I got airbags, though. Look at that drill. Man, I gotta be comfortable.
Airbags underneath the seats.
See the air ride seats? Suspension seats? What is it? You can see it from the other side.